Hey folks, Craig Lavati here with the Houston Museum of Natural Science, ready for another episode of Craig and Charlotte Go to the Movies. As always, I am joined by Charlotte Brohe, the VP of Film Programming here at the museum.
That's me.
And today we're going to be talking about the new documentary playing inside the Wortham Giant Screen Theater that's Back from the Brink, Saved from Extinction by director Sean Casey. Charlotte, you were actually on the set for a few of the scenes from this movie.
I've been to Christmas Island, which is where the Christmas crabs were filmed. And it's quite an astonishing sight because that was one of the main features of a migration story that we were telling. And it was, 40 million crabs roaming around the island. And so Sean going back there to film a problem, rather than a migration story, but they had to go sort out the problem of the super ants that were taking over the crabs. So it's kind of come to full, fruition. He's seen them, when they were at their height of success, and then all of a sudden there was a natural disaster in the making by these crazy ants that were taking over the population. So he went back and filmed this success story, Saved from Extinction.
Back from the Brink chronicles the human element that goes into saving three distinct types of nearly, extinct animals.
Sure.
You have the red crabs that she was talking about, you have the beautiful golden monkeys, the snubbies, and also the Channel Island foxes. I was really, after watching the movie, I wanted a snubby of myself. The golden monkeys.
Home.
If you've seen out here in the lobby at the museum, you've seen pictures of the snubbies. The monkeys, the golden monkeys, they have like a cute little nose type deal going on.
Slush face nose.
And you find out while you're watching the film that they were actually being hunted.
Right.
By hunters, like they were using them as bush meat, we could call it that. They were being eaten.
Exactly.
Which is just a horrible thing to think about, these cute little golden monkeys being eaten by hunters. But what ends up happening is the hunters end up helping protect them.
Right, they had a change of attitude, which, is important for saving any species. We might think one thing, but then once we're more educated, we'll say, you know what, why are we doing that? And I think that's what's happened with them. They realized how important these monkeys were to their own ecosystem and just how beautiful they were.
Now the Channel Island foxes, they were being eaten by the golden eagles.
Right.
Sounds like a really great animated movie, but it's real life.
Yeah.
Obviously. Sean Casey tells the story in such dramatic depth, obviously using drone footage. This is a big giant screen movie, so obviously there's sweeping vistas going on here. It's just a really great film. When I saw it here at the museum, I saw it with a group full of children, and I was excited to think about one day maybe those kids saving species themselves.
Exactly, and that's one of the reasons that we show these kind of films. They're important to remind everybody that it is through human interaction and human will that we can save species. And especially with the Channel Island foxes, who would have thought that golden eagles, because for the longest time they had no idea what was going on, and they finally figured out that the golden eagles were stealing the babies and flying off with them. So they literally had to go in and remove all of the golden eagles. It takes great scientists to figure out that was the problem and here's the solution.
Now, director Sean Casey did a really good job of explaining how if you change a habitat of an animal and you introduce something else into that habitat, things can get very bad really quickly.
Exactly. Or it can also, when you remove something from a habitat, fix a problem. Like with the foxes. They took away the eagles, but in the Christmas Island storyline, they introduced wasps to take care of those super ants.
Yeah.
So it was so by introducing the wasp, those wasps were able to kill out the super ants, the super colonies, and save the red crabs of Christmas Island.
He does a really good job of, on a macro level, showing the fight between those two species, of course with the wasps and the ants that you don't think of being connected to the crabs.
Exactly. And he literally got to the details. I mean, wildlife filmmaking is a whole movie in itself, and one of the things that he goes with the Christmas Island crabs is he literally takes a insect, hollows it out, and then fills it with a super glue so that he can put it up high in the tree so that he can attract the super ants. And it just tries to, and that's the way he was able to film And it took them hours and hours to get that done. And it literally, they were able to get a shot of the actual happening of what they needed to solve the problem. And that was the ants being killed by the wasps.
So Sean's not actually up there in a tree.
No, he's, no, but his DP was up there, and he was kind of sad that his DP got the actual shot, but he did all the setup work, so there's always a competition about who gets the shots on these film crews. But, wildlife filmmaking can go on for days, and, in fact, when we were there for the red crabs, for the migration story, you just sat around for days waiting for something to happen. And we were all at dinner one night, and the park ranger comes up, and all of a sudden there's crackling on the walkie-talkies, and it was, the crabs are on the move, the crabs are on the move. We all dropped our dinner and we all raced to get to the beach to start the filming. So it's very tedious work, and anybody that does any kind of documentary filmmaking, especially in the wild, should be even more honored just because of how much work is done.
So there you have it, folks. Come see Back from the Brink, Saved from Extinction here at the Houston Museum of Natural Science. Bring your little scientist.
Yeah.
Bring your little naturalist at home. So maybe one day in 20 or 30 years, they can be saving species themselves out there in the wild.